Hi, this is Bobby Burke for the Multi-Millionaire Mindset Podcast. I'm here today to talk about my practice with my good friend from Arkadios Capital, Paul Pilcher.
Thanks, Bob. Really enjoyed being here and looking forward to the conversation. It's going to be fun.
Love it.
Robert Burke Jr. is known as Bob or Bobby to his family, friends, and clients. Bobby is committed to helping clients find a clear path to financial success and has been recognized for his commitment to exceeding professional standards in the financial service industry. Bobby holds his Series 7 and 63 licenses as well as life and health insurance. Away from work, Bobby enjoys working out, being involved with his church, and spending time with his family and friends, going to concerts, sporting events, and most importantly, traveling with his wife, Drew Burke. They also keep very busy with their kids, activities, and sports. A lot on that plate, Bob.
That's for sure.
And
on the workout part, I'm glad that that part of this is audio, so the people that are just listening will believe it.
Yeah,
right.
Same with me. We're all future, former athletes.
Yeah, that's right.
Studs.
That's right.
So, Bob, let's get into it then.
Oh, let's go.
One of my favorite questions to get things going, to let clients and prospects understand a little bit deeper insight of why you've been so successful, but how you continue to expand on your practice. So give me a little thoughts. Tell me about the unique 5-step process that I know has been so important that you employ for your clients' benefit.
Absolutely. So the first step, so there's 5 steps. The first step is introduction. So that would be an introductory meeting whereby I'm sitting down with a new client and we're really just getting to know each other. And part of it is, I want to make sure I'm a good fit for them. And also, I want to make sure they're a good fit for me.
Sure.
So part of that is really just getting to know each other. From there, the second step is going to be discovery. And discovery, we really pop the hood and figure out what's going on. What situations are they facing? What issues? What can we do to help? From there, we'll move into strategy. And that's an overarching approach in that we're just looking at everything. And then from there, as we kind of work our way through this, we move to solutions, which is bringing the right programs to the client that they're going to love and that are going to work well for them over time. And then really, here's the big thing, is our ongoing customer service is top notch. My operations manager is unbelievable. I can't tell you how often I'll reach out to her and say, Amanda, we got to take care of this or we got to take care of that. And it's already done. It's like she reads my mind, which is wonderful.
Invaluable.
Invaluable.
Support system is invaluable.
It's invaluable. And I think, we all see this today. Customer service is lost. It's a lost art, and it's so important. And so I want all my clients to know, we're always available and we're always ready to help.
Sure. Well, knowing what I do know about your practice, obviously it's very in-depth in what you just described, it kind of gives me an insight on how you get to solving some very complex problems and you're able to provide these solutions with a very focus towards that ultra high net worth space, the type of client that has issues to deal with and needs specific ways to, in fact, address those. When you think about in that context, what is it that you're doing that sets you apart from other advisors? How are you finding these families to put their faith in you to help them solve for multi-generational, not just the problems of today, but the promise for tomorrow, 10 years from now, 20 years from now?
Yeah, that's right. I really think that the key thing is, I call it the 3 Ps: people, practice, process. So people, my team, again, operations manager is incredible. The support I get from Arkadios is unbelievable. So we're able to interface really, really well and take care of all of those issues that can arise, because they do. Issues are going to happen, and you want to be in front of them. But the people are critical. And then the practice, just 33 years of doing this now, 33 years of sitting across the table from folks and, tackling problems and issues and dealing with it and coming up with the best solutions possible. And then lastly, the process. The process that we follow is very methodical. And so it's easily replicated so that clients can have very successful results.
Fantastic. Well, you just mentioned 30 plus years in a very dynamic, ever-changing, and potentially very stressful environment.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
And you keep doing it. And tell me, what do you love about what you do? Why are you still doing this after 30 plus years? Why do you want to keep doing it for the rest of your life?
I think at some point I'm going to need to slow down, but it's not close yet. I can tell you that. So really what I love about my work is the depth of the relationships with the clients. I've got a number of clients that have been with me 30 plus years, 20 plus years, 25 plus years. And then new clients that you get to know really quickly. Because you're tackling important issues. Sure. You're in some cases repairing portfolios. In other cases, you're tackling insurance issues or estate issues. So there's a lot that goes on there. But my very favorite part is getting to know the people and those relationships over time. The technical part's great,
sure,
but the people are what makes the job fun.
Yeah, and I'm assuming seeing your good, all your efforts come to fruition.
Yes, absolutely.
Seeing someone where you've actually improved their life. I mean, it's very rewarding. So kudos to that. And in that same vein, give me our audience an example of something where you feel like you've gone above and beyond, an extraordinary customer service, be it with a new client, be it with an existing client. Yeah, give us some thought into that.
Yeah, a good story for you. We've got a client who's been with me a long time, great guy. And he was in my office one day, we were doing a meeting, and I could tell he was very stressed. And I asked him, why are you stressed? What's wrong? And he was like, listen, my car's on its last legs, and I got to go buy a new car, and I'm really uncomfortable doing this. So I said, I'll go with you. So I went with my client to the car dealership, and we flipped the script on the car dealer. You know how normally they go back to the back office, talk to the manager.
The whole routine.
The whole routine. Yeah. So we had the routine in reverse, and he would go, I got to talk to my financial advisor. We're going to step outside. We'll come right back. But we had a good time. That was really fun. Other than that, one of the big things I'd say is that, and I mentioned this earlier, we just try to be really, really proactive with everything. So we try to stay in front of everything. Frequently I'll burn the midnight oil working late just to make sure everything goes well.
Sure.
And so that's kind of baked into our process.
I always laugh I always tell my family that I'm the jack of all trades, but master of none. Spreading myself, trying to, that's in just work in general life. Right. And sometimes it's actually necessary. But to that end, knowing that you do address so many complex issues from, your coach, your psychologist, your technician. If you had to think of one thing, what is the specialty that Bob Burke Financial Services provides? What are you better at than any of your other competitors, and that's bringing your clients to stay with you through all these years?
I think it all comes down to communication. And I didn't have a finance degree. My degree was in English literature.
Sure.
And so I'm all about communicating clearly. That's very, very important. So I think the critical thing over the years has been understanding what the client's trying to do, and then help find the best solutions to make that happen. And really, at the end of the day, what we're shooting for are to get above market returns with varying degrees of risk mitigation. If a client is very risk adverse, then they're going to be greater levels of risk mitigation. Versus if they're a little more aggressive client, then we'll take more of a swing to the fence approach based on their needs and their desires.
Does that evolve over time?
It does, yeah, it does, and part of it is, the client situations change. I've had clients lose their spouses, and in many cases, the spouse was kind of really on top of the finances, and the surviving spouse was not, and so it's jumping back in there and really helping them understand what we're trying to do for them and what they need to do for themselves too.
Have you thought about that? I think a huge area where I think there's always room for improvement, and I think whoever figures it out stands to be very successful. That multi-generational wealth transfer.
Yeah.
I mean, you talked about the loss of a spouse. You talked about how do we educate, the children of current clients? How do we get them engaged so that they see the benefit of what you're providing? So you make a family a client for life, not
that's right.
It's
that's
not
right.
just one person. Yeah, how do we solve for that?
Well, it's critical. There's no question about it. And so what I've done over the years is a number of different approaches. One would be we have a periodic family meeting where we talk to the children, any other beneficiaries, and really bring them up to speed on what's going on, of course, with the client's permission and involvement.
Sure.
In other cases, I'll have standing calls with the children of clients.
Right.
So that just to keep them up to speed, as you mentioned, with those family generational wealth issues. So
No.
yeah. I think it's all communication. Yeah. It's really having that open line of communication so that you're talking the stuff through.
Right. No, I love it. We're talking about solving for various things that come up. In this business, there's one thing, it's not going to be boring.
Right.
It's part of what we do. And in an effort to constantly enhance or reinvent the offering. I know that you're dynamic, you're creative. Give me just a little tease. What are you working on right now that the audience needs to be aware of? What's Bobby Burke thinking about to continue to add benefit for his families?
Yeah, we're always vetting new programs. So we're always doing our due diligence, digging into programs and making sure that we're finding the best solutions and really but vetting those before we even bring them to the client. So the client's going to see an idea. They may love it, but they don't understand that I had 3 months, 4 months of hard due diligence. In a recent case, I flew to, of all places, Cleveland, Ohio to tour a potential investment. And so you have to have boots on the ground sometimes.
Sure.
You just have to do whatever you need to do to make sure you've properly vetted these programs.
No, that's the extra step that if you have the bandwidth to do it, it is absolutely critical.
Yeah.
I've been doing this a long time, and in my former background was certainly on the investment side. And reading a pitch book is one thing. Understanding the sponsors, understanding who's actually going to be touching the assets that are so important to your clients is critical. So
it really is.
And that's a massive differentiating factor. So
well definitely.
You've titled this podcast series "The Multi-Millionaire Mindset." There's a lot of books out there, a lot of different content,
sure.
But I'd love to get your take. What are the multimillionaires, the people that have been successful in their field, that have created multi-generational wealth for themselves and for generations? What is it about them? What are they doing differently? How are they wired differently from a habit, mindset standpoint? What makes them stand out, and how have they been so successful?
I've watched this over my whole life, and I've really identified 3 things I think they do better than anybody. The first one is they stay true to their vision. Whatever their vision is, they're going to stay true to it. The second is they grind. They work harder than anybody. Their business, their opportunities are the baby in a lot of ways. And, I obviously they're focused on their families too, but when it comes to their work, they're going to make it happen. And the last thing that you might not think of right away is they're not afraid to fail. Like, sometimes certain endeavors do not work out, and they're willing to identify that, make changes, and then move forward.
That's I think that's if you're going to be successful in anything, and it's certainly what you do would apply to that, is it has to be your passion.
Yeah.
I mean, if we don't enjoy what we're doing, then it's not, you're not going to be successful.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not only it's not only measured in monetary as well. I mean, being happy and enjoying it is so important. And I think that's one thing. Seeing you engage with clients and prospects, what I've had the pleasure of doing a couple of times now, I do think that you come across someone who genuinely enjoys his relationships and gets, you feel good about what you're accomplishing. So that makes a lot of sense to me.
Thank you, Paul.
In addition, from a hobby standpoint, we referenced it a little bit earlier, but I know you're very well traveled.
Right.
Half the time when you and I are catching up, you just landed from somewhere else. Give the audience some thoughts on what are your favorite places you've been, and if you're going somewhere coming up that you're excited about.
Yeah, we're so a couple of my favorite places, and really what it comes down to is it's all about the people. Mm-hmm. So I've been to Ireland 3 times now, and I love the Irish people. They're incredible. They're fun. They're friendly. They're funny, and so I really enjoy them. My wife and I went to Costa Rica a couple of years ago, and similar thing. The people were wonderful. The people made Costa Rica, so that's another place we love. And right around the corner, we're going to do an Italy trip, which I'm really excited about. So that'll be our first time to Italy.
Oh, that'll be fantastic. Do you find yourself going back to the same places you love for kind of a familiarity reason, or are you always looking for this next experience you haven't?
Yeah, that's a great question. A little bit of both.
Yeah,
a little bit of both. Like certainly, there's places on the checklist that you want to get to. I think everybody does.
Sure.
And then as you get to them, if you really love a place, you think about going back to it, that type of thing. So yeah, it's fun. I just enjoy travel. It really expands you. You come back recharged and fired up, and it's just a wonderful experience.
Yeah, different perspective as well. Different places, different people. I think there's always something to be gained from different insights, and you can't do it if you don't get out and see the world. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah. No,
Absolutely.
So, what's Bobby Burke's superpower? What is the talent that you possess that, if we could bottle it, I wouldn't have to do my day job anymore.
Right.
Well, what's the superpower that you possess that other people would love to have?
I love it. First thing, I'll tell you the superpower I don't possess, which is a singing voice.
Yeah.
Like I do not have a singing voice. My wife, when we're at church, I think she's cringing half the time. Like my voice is pretty bad. But I do think my wife always says that I'm just a very positive person. So like, life will throw stuff at you. Does for all of us. And it's our ability to deal with those challenging situations that really make us, the best version of who we can be. And I strive to do that all the time.
Yeah, I think people are attracted to other infectious personalities. They feed off positive energy, and there's no doubt about it. What talent or did you want to share with either your colleagues or your friends or your clients? So I understand why people are attracted to it, but what would you share with others that you think can help them be more successful in their lines of work or just in their personal relationships?
Yeah, I think the key is forming really good habits, right? Like there was a book written years ago, Make Your Bed. And so the idea is you make your bed first thing every day. And I was in the military and that was the first thing you did. And it might be 4 a.m. You're making your bed. So there's a couple things about that. By making your bed every day, you've got a win. You started the day with a win. You've done one thing. When you come home from a long day, your bed's made. So it kind of sets the day up for success. But I think that's the thing is for successful advisors, you need to have really good habits and disciplines and really stick with it. And that's really critical.
Can you learn those habits? I mean, can you become more disciplined over time? And I know it's innate. You mentioned military experience. It probably, have probably been grinding and doing things in a very formulaic way for a long time. But over time, I'm assuming it doesn't have to be an inherent trait. You can learn that.
No, I think it can be learned. And really, frankly, part of why I joined the military was I didn't think I was self-disciplined enough.
Right.
I actually, my parents tell the story that they overheard me talking to the recruiter and he was asking why I wanted to join the military. And I said, well, I need to be more self-disciplined. And I'm never going to get it from my folks, which they were probably cringing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I did seek that out. But I do think, to your point, anybody can learn it. You just have to really apply yourself.
Yeah. Excellent.
Well, thank you so much, Paul. Thanks for hosting our talk today. This is the Multi-Millionaire Podcast with Bobby Burke, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon.
Thanks, Bobby. Really enjoyed the time.
Thank you.